exhausted deserter soldier finds an officer's uniform and begins to rule, creates his own detachment, and executes. The events of this black and white film, based on real history, begin in April 1945, 2 weeks before the capitulation of Germany. The main character, an ordinary deserter, Willie Harold, runs along a country road. An orchestra plays in the body, and the captain, drinking schnapps, shoots at the running criminal. Luck favors Harold. Having reached the forest where the truck will not pass, hides from the pursuers like a hobbit. Later, at an abandoned railway station, he finds a blanket and makes a mess. There, he meets another deserter, weak but with a gun. Having rested, they go to the farm at night. On a tree next to it, a hangman dangles with a sign that looting is punishable by death. In the shed, Willie steals chicken eggs while his Ziz's partner stands with a stone in his hands. The chickens raise a roar and the watchman wakes up. Willie orders his partner to kill the watchman, but he just runs away. Harold pushes his head against the bricks. The farmers are outraged by the noise. They stab the watchman with forks. Not wanting to decorate the wood with his corpse, runs away. He makes his way along the railway tracks. On a country road, Harold finds an abandoned car, and in addition to a box of apples, a box in the shape of Captain Luftwaffe. He hurriedly changes into a uniform. Only the trousers are a little too big. From such luck, Willie imagining himself an officer when another deserter, a private Freitag, bumps into him. Having taken a stranger for a real captain, he reports that he fought off his own and asks for Harold's command. The swindler easily accepts the rules of the game and begins to behave like a commander. On the way, the new captain throws out his old clothes so that his subordinates do not guess anything. Already in the dark, they arrive at the tavern. The locals are not very friendly to the military. The war is almost lost. Harold uses hostility. He begins to question the locals about the damage caused by the deserters so that the government pays compensation. This finds a warm response from the locals. The insolence of Freitag when consuming food makes the owner twice suspect the same deserters forced to starve on the road. Only the restraint and skill of the captain helps to preserve the legend. But already at night, the locals bring a thief to deal with him. Harold shoots that bullet in the head. In the morning, they leave for the farm where Willie was stealing eggs. Here, the authorities put the bodies on the sofa, mock the owners, and rob the supplies. Harold's powerful look and command voice allows him to take the situation under control. One of them notices that the captain's pants are clearly too big. He does not tell anyone about it. Loaded with food supplies, the detachment moves on. They come across 2 soldiers rolling craft gun. They also join the group. When the car runs out of fuel, the soldiers have to carry it on a trailer along with a gun, which at a certain moment leads to an escalation of personal hostility. The tough guys check the documents, ready to open fire in case of disobedience. Harold has to show a lot of acting talent to convince the inspector that his powers are more complete than his. Having accepted the lie of the swindler for the truth, the soldiers bring them to the prison, where they keep deserters. On the way, the same officer who was shooting at the running Harold does not recognize him. He explains to the captain that keeping prisoners and ensuring their existence is an unacceptable luxury. He, as a personally delegated by the Führer, could help with the solution of this problem. A military field court is needed to bring sentences to the prisoners. But while Willie is thinking about this case, his detachment needs food and accommodation. Schutter shows Harold the prison barracks and introduces them to the case. At the interrogation, Willie's subordinates beat the prisoner, taking away valuable things from the rest. Private Freitag asks the captain to stop the chaos, but then he notices Their fate is predetermined. At the same time, the manager is talking to the chief of the judicial officials. He asks Shuta to give one of the prisoners a parcel from his daughter, who earned this right with her hard work. He agrees, but does not have time to step back as he pockets the content. Harold informs that he will hold a military trial. Prisoners can be executed. Some have already been killed. This drives the officers of justice mad. He reports to the boss about the arbitrariness of Shuta and Harold. However, they are cleverly twisted, as if the prisoners attacked the officer during the interrogation. The situation is dangerous. The boss can check Harold and find out that there is no person from the Führer. Shuta, who wants to finish all the cases in the camp, calls his superiors to get approval from the Gestapo to hold a military trial for Captain Harold, bypassing the Ministry of Justice. If Willie agrees to take on all the responsibility of the leadership, having received permission, Shuta informs Hansen's superiors, allowed to act without him. The officer of justice receives a call from above and then sees that his colleagues in the camp business have already begun to solve the problem. Shuta takes the prisoners out of the barracks. Harold orders to catch up with the anti-aircraft gun. Prisoners are shot from it, tearing their bodies to pieces. After the first fight, we still have survivors. They are trying to escape, but the soldiers, having reloaded the gun, open fire on them. From the awareness of the inmate, Willie wants to shout. Only Freitag does not take part in the execution. After a small dinner with hot potatoes, the shooting team returns to their duties on a daily basis. Freitag stands aside, but it is not clear until it turns out that the pit is full of corpses. To finish him off, you need to climb into the grave itself, and the captain orders the day man to save the poor man from torture, which he reluctantly does. In just one day, Harold and Shuta shot 90 prisoners. The remaining prisoners refuse to bury the pit. The officer orders the soldiers to bury the grave themselves, and they have to obey. The canteen staff celebrates the successful work, praising Captain Harold. Guests enjoy the performance of 2 artists from the number of prisoners. The repertoire is overshadowed by the number of toilet humor. Together with the officers' staff, they perform the anthem to the combat brotherhood. The officers are having a secular conversation with the workers of the culture. Willie wants to find out why the talented guys were taken to prison, but they do not confess. Then he suggests playing a game to imagine that they are all thieves. He himself stole the officer's uniform. The guests learn that the artist stole a dead comrade. This leads the jokes to rage, from which the outraged soldiers are distracted. The executioners go to beat the prisoners of the camp. The officers notice the beating and order to stop. Harold does not listen. The imposter, he shoots from a gun at the spirit of the accused soldier, deafening him for a while. Then he puts the beaten in a row, ties them with a rope, and having taken out the gun, orders to run. Willie shoots one in the back. Others drag the fallen comrade. Harold hands the gun to artists and orders to do the same. The artist kills the second prisoner, but his colleague on stage shoots himself in the head instead of obeying the order. The captain waits for the artist to pick up the gun. The unfortunate target drags 3 bodies at once behind him. The wife of Shuta starts shooting. All those present join the shooting. In the morning, Freitag sees that Harold's trousers are too long, but he does not say anything. It is deadly dangerous. Shuta approaches the tent. A detachment for combing the area is ready to search for the deserters. The captain goes to them in a coat and underpants, which does not prevent him from reading the inspiring speech and sending everyone away. While none of the locals are present, Harold's detachment makes a feast with drunken dances and mockery of the captives. Returning with his people, Shuta sees a deserted camp with a bunch of lying corpses. Drunk people come out of the kitchen, but then the canteen flies into the air, along with everyone who did not have time to leave. And the Allied aviation sends the Germans a big hello in the TNT equivalent. After the air raid, the wobbling Herald raises the cap and coat from the ground. He gives the command to the survivors to line up. It's time for them to get out of this hospitable place. With the soldiers and deserters, a couple of prisoners survived. The captain orders them to find a military uniform. A color picture of this place is shown in our days. The detachment goes to the city by car, with the inscription on board, Fast Court of Harold. In fraudulent plans, after a rough ride on the streets, they stop near the mayor's office, where a white flag with the inscription, Welcome. So the local authorities greet the Allies who are about to approach the city. Having requisitioned the provisions, Harold goes to the best house in the city. Here, the deserters arrange a stormy party, but then a woman came and ruined everything. One of the faithful bodyguards brazenly takes away the captain's beloved Fräulein. The pigeons did not have time to be alone in the room. As an impudence for the former about subordination, the former comrades in arms cool the dust in the bathroom. Soon, he judges Smut-Jan. The captain is sentenced to death. In the yard, the private is undressed and ordered to run away. He takes a few steps before the rifle shot breaks his sinful life. After that, Harold and his people arrange an even more party with songs, dances, half-naked girls, and waterfalls of alcohol. After such an event, in the morning, they are not lying down where they got and how they got. This is how they are found by the military police and arrested. The Captain Willie tries to eat his documents, but the policeman manages to save some of them. And there the German is written in white that he is a simple private. Despite the many crimes, in court, Harold, instead of a death penalty, is offered a conditionally early release. He showed himself to be a clever guy with an iron grip, ingenuity, and manners of a true officer. True, a little later he escapes with a rope from the tide sheets. The former captain wanders through the forest, covered with skeletons, literally walking on the bones. The final title tells about his future fate. On May 23, 1945, Willie Harold was arrested, and a year and a half later, on November 14, 1946, together with 6 accomplices, was sentenced by the court for military crimes. At that time, he was 21 years old.